Welcome to 284 Media's Just for the Record. I am Jhaka Wooding, and today I am joined by Representative for the 3rd District, Honorable Julian Fraser of Progressives United. We have discussions with him after this quick break.
There are many ways to enjoy life, like so many ways to count on Popular.
Rashford made it. Manchester United have come from behind to lead.
At home or on the go, watch CCT Live. Download our app and carry your favorite TV shows, news, or live sports anywhere you go. Visit cctvvi.com/live, select your package, and tune in.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. Welcome back, and thank you so much for staying with us. And of course, Honorable Fraser, thank you so much for being here today.
You're welcome.
All right. How about you set the stage for us? Walk me through your professional career.
I'm a registered architect in the state of New York and the United States Virgin Islands. I practiced in New York for a good 20 years. When I came back to Tortola, I did practice for maybe 10 years. Then I got involved in politics. Once I got involved in politics and got elected to public office, I decided to discontinue practicing architecture. And I've been doing just a political stint for the last 24 years.
All right. And what was your drive to get into politics in the first place?
I think an opportunity showed itself, and there was a void. My predecessor, who had been in office for about the same time as I am right now, decided that he was no longer going to continue public life. And one day he just decided to tell me this. And once he told me, I looked around and I said, why not me? And he decided to support me, and then I ran, I was successful, and that was it.
All right. Now, given the way you got into politics, I know it's a question on a lot of people's minds when you will be getting ready to pass on the baton. So where are you at in that regard right now?
That's a common word. I'm going to just pass it the baton. I don't think that is something that will be much longer down in the future. I think that's somewhere in the near future I will be doing that.
All right. Now,
I'm asking the people to actually look at the situation that we're in right now, which is what I've done. I've seen that the Virgin Islands is at a critical juncture. It is nothing that I had ever seen and nothing that anyone before me has ever seen, where we have an order in council to suspend our constitution and impose direct rule. And if the people of this territory understand what that really means, it means that there will be no House of Assembly, no 13 elected members that we have right now that you meet on the street. Sometimes you be nice to them, sometimes you're not so nice to them, and that's a privilege that you exercise. I don't think it's sometimes a little overboard, but you do it nonetheless. But if the House of Assembly is no longer there, you wouldn't have these 13 people looking out for you. And I want to explain to people the importance of the district system. We have 9 districts in the territory. And those 9 districts came about because of the need for opportunities. We didn't have the opportunities that we have throughout the territory that we have now with the 9 districts. You get rid of those districts where you can have a representative looking out for your needs and wants and the best interests of the district. Then you're just like everyone else, and it's the one who are closest to the situation that gets the most attention. It also means suspension of constitution and direct rule also means that there'll be no cabinet. Cabinet is the executive branch of government. That's where the operations take place. They make decisions as to what government should and should not do on a daily basis. That would no longer exist. So I cannot sit by, given that as it stands right now, the last House of Assembly, the 4th House of Assembly, I was without question the person with the most experience in the House. And I look around and I see the people who are running right now. If I take the Virgin Islands Party, who's in not the party in government, because you got 3 parties in government, but they're the majority party in government. And I look at all of their district candidates. I look at their experience, and I put it against mine, and they don't match my experience in terms of years served. So I can't sit back and allow this territory to go without the benefit of my experience. I think it will be a disservice if I deprive them of it. I also see that we have a constitutional negotiation commission out there, which is seeking the recommendation of the people of the territory. When they finish doing that and make their report, that report has to be taken to the House of Assembly, debated, passed or not passed. If it's passed, it has to go to the United Kingdom government for negotiations. Who would you send to negotiate your constitution if people like myself are not a part of the next House of Assembly? You're going to send brand new people to go negotiate a constitution? I don't think that's what the people of this territory would do if they understand. And this is a message that I want to bring across to them. I've been with the 2007 negotiating team. I've been there, done that. That level of experience is something that is the territory is in dire need of. So, and we had a commission of inquiry. The commission of inquiry in their report, this recommendation A21, is stated: how do you get the ministerial government to be held to account to the House of Assembly? And it also asks, should the Speaker of the House be elected or a politically appointee? I've made recommendations, a submission to answer those questions by having a new parliament created, which is a bicameral parliament, complete with a House of Representatives and a Senate. And the entire procedure and structure is laid out in my submission I submitted it to the Minister for Overseas Territory, I submitted it to the Governor, I submitted it to the Constitutional Review Commission, and I also presented it to the Commission of Inquiry when they were here. And I expect that at some stage, this territory would advance its parliament to a stage where that parliament can hold the government, which is the executive, to account. Right now, it is their duty to do it, but they lack the capacity to do it.
All right, now you spoke about the House of Assembly, so let's focus on that area a bit right now. As it currently stands, you are the sole member of Progressives United.
Yes.
So in a sense, that almost inevitably places you in the opposition if re-elected. Now, with your wealth of experience, do you believe that that's possibly the most impactful role that you could play in the House of Assembly in terms of standing as the opposition, even on your own as you did previously, to combat the upcoming representatives?
Well, that's a myth. So let me debunk that myth right now. One of the things that I failed to mention just now is that it scares me and everyone who knows what's taking place right now, as far as I just mentioned the Art and Council. It scares me, and it would not sit well with the United Kingdom government if the people goes to the poll on April 24th and return a single party with a majority of the candidates. It will not suit well, especially if that party is a Virgin Islands party, and I'll tell you why. Remember, we are now sitting with a party, they call it a unity government. My designation for it was to be an all-party government, which is where the whole idea came from, and I brought it up and presented it, the concept. It's because of that order in council is not executed, and it is a direct rule. They had to use that concept in order to convince the British government that we, as a group in the House of Assembly, would work in unison to execute those recommendations that were made. And that's what saved them. Now, you're telling me that you can't send back the same group of people who caused this to happen in the first place. We told you before that if you come here before us, this is what we're going to do. We're going to impose direct rule. And we said to you, no, don't do that. We will form an all-party government to impress upon you our seriousness and our commitment. And I am telling you right now, there is no way under God's green earth, on God's green earth, that come April 24th, any single party is going to win a majority in the House of Assembly. And that's where I come in. I form an alliance. Progressives United has formed an alliance with Progressive Virgin Islands Movement for the sole purpose, and also we've discussed with the other party to discuss the importance of making sure that this Virgin Islands party does not return from the polls on April 24th with a majority. So I will not be some lone ranger in the House of Assembly as I am right now. I make sure that that's not going to happen as I am right now in the opposition. And I don't intend to be in the opposition in the first place.
Now, I think it may be interesting to look at the beginning stages of the unity government. Had you been called to lead the territory in those unprecedented times, is there anything you would have done differently to what unfolded? Stay tuned for more Just for the Record after these messages.
Yo, everything good, Dad?
Aye. This thing got me one way, Daddy.
What do you mean?
Ever since I hook up with this thing, can't eat, I can't sleep. This is the first thing I touch it when I reach home.
What you really? Hey, this ain't like you, know.
Dad, this thing got me staying home, keeping out of trouble me.
Wow. What your name is?
Shit, I talk about my CCT life.
Don't worry about missing your favorite series, sports, news, and local programming. Come to CCT today and sign up for CCT Live to access over 80 channels. CCT Live. Bring it home.
1 month free trial turn into 5. 5 months turn into, well, you know I huff. I watching ball. I been watching football. Dad, Nickelodeon, Paw Patrol. I am hooked. Hook, I tell you.
So you're saying I can ask this cat any question?
The cat is connected to the computer. You just type in the question, it will read his mind. There the answer comes.
You're the man! I've been looking for this for weeks.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. Now, I think it may be interesting to look at the beginning stages of the unity government. Had you been called to lead the territory in those unprecedented times, is there anything you would have done differently to what unfolded?
From what stage?
From the announcement of the Premier's arrest.
From the time we've been working before the Premier got arrested. Weeks before the Premier got arrested, the Governor informed us that he had received the report from the Commission of Inquiry. And I got wind, I heard, that the Governor and the Premier, which was the former Premier, was going to the United Kingdom. I met the Premier at the Sir Albert Georges Plaza when the kids from the Carifta Games came back and we were celebrating their return. I met the Governor and I said to him, Governor, it is not cool for you to think that you will be going to the United Kingdom to discuss the Commission of Inquiry's report without the opposition. And when I said the opposition, I meant the leaders are representative of all the parties in government. A few days later, he called me back and he told me he took my recommendation into consideration, and that's what he's going to do. We will be going to UK somewhere in May, and there'll be 4 of us: the Premier, the person representing the NDP, the person representing PVIM, and myself from Progressives United, and the Governor. We'll be going to the United Kingdom in May. It was all set that that's what we were going to do. I was with the impression at the time that whatever was in the report, because he hadn't divulged the contents of the report with us as yet, but whatever was in the report, we would be going to the UK to discuss it. And up came April 28th. The Premier got arrested. From the moment he got arrested, we in the opposition went into full gear. There's a member for Progressives United, myself, which is myself, the member for the NDP, and the member for Progressive Virgin Islands movement. We got into full gear, and we started strategizing what can we bring forward, what can we put on the table in order to arrest any decision that the United Kingdom might come up with that is irrational. As you know, this one is irrational, the imposition of direct rule. And that was the Friday. Mm-hmm. The Friday, the Saturday, we got together. And the Sunday, we met with the Premier and we presented him with our proposal. And that's the time when I presented him with the proposal to form an all-party government. He was working tirelessly himself, the Premier. Well, he was acting Premier at the time, trying to come up with the concepts to try to appease the British government, to show them that whatever the recommendations are in this report, by this time the report was released now. We got the report on the 29th. He saw what the recommendations were, and he started putting things together just as we did as to how we're going to address all these issues. And the minister, by this time, the Minister of Overseas Territory was well on her way to the Virgin Islands. And I think we met with her on the Monday, either the Monday or the Tuesday, and presented her with our proposals. What would I have done different? I don't think I would have done anything different. I think the concept that we should all form an all-party government was a key to brokering this deal to avert the order in council being imposed upon us, which is suspending our constitution and imposing direct rule. Now, people blame the present Premier. They said he's too soft, they say all kind of things. But when you got your hand in the lion's mouth, I think you're better off stroking him than kicking him. And I think that's the approach he used. He ran the clock down to the 11th hour. You know, the House of Assembly didn't dissolve until the 11th, was it? Mm-hmm. February 11th,
March.
March
10th.
That was the absolute deadline for the House of Assembly to run, and that's when it dissolved. He got every minute of every hour out of the term that he was serving as Premier, and the country stayed out of the hands of the governor's direct rule. As far as that is concerned, I think that he played that perfect. Someone who would have gone in there and start rocking the boat and trying to rattle the cage might have caused something more to happen towards the direct rule area. Mm-hmm. Now, taking the country from where we are now, it's going to require a lot more than that. It's going to require experience. It's going to require a firm hand, and that is not what is over on that side of the equation right now. We cannot afford a caretaker government taking us forward. Mm-hmm. This country needs to be rebuilt. We need to rebuild the country. The ravages from Hurricane Irma and Maria, too much of it is still vivid and evident around us. We have to rebuild the country. And to do that, you need money. We were offered a loan guarantee from the United Kingdom government of $426 million for the purpose of rebuilding the country. This government came in and they refused to take it on the grounds that it was going to breach the borrowing guidelines. Well, I consider that to be ill-advised. It's nothing but a red herring. And if we don't take advantage of that, you have the government administration complex. I bet you can't tell me. Now, before Hurricane Irma, if I send you to see the Minister for Natural Resources and Labor, or the Minister for Communications and Works, or the Minister for Education, or the Premier, you know exactly where to go. If I tell you go down, just go down by the administration complex. You'll find them all there. But if I tell you to go look for them now, you would not know where to go. They're all over the island. It's a shame. It's ridiculous. And why? Because that building was damaged during a hurricane and it's still not repaired. You know, we have a situation where when the hurricane came, it knocked our power lines down. We were out of electricity for a good period. Why? Because we were unprotected. Those power lines need to be buried. What's the excuse? We don't have the money to do it. You're going to wait for another disaster? The funding is there. When you are ready to buy a car, you will be going to the bank. When you're ready to build your home, you're going to the bank. You're not going to wait until you save money to do that. And this is what I don't understand. These guys not prepared to do what is right because they don't have, I don't know, the savvy to do it. Telling me that you're going to breach the borrowing guidelines because if you borrow the money that the British government makes available to you is like telling me I approach an intersection and I see a police line said do not enter. But the police is up ahead telling me to come. He's telling me to come. And you're telling him, well, the police line said don't enter. I'm the police. I'm telling you to come. The British government is the one who gave us the guidelines and they're the ones who monitor it. If they're giving us money to borrow, it's telling us something. Go ahead. We will move the line wherever it needs to be moved in order for you to go ahead and do what you have to do. Or schools. We just finished building a school the other day. We just finished building it the other day. That school was destroyed in Hurricane Irma. Had our children all over the place. We have a situation down in the Seacoast Bay where there's a horse race track. People come here from United States Virgin Islands in droves when that track is when the horses are running. We can't even use it. The grandstand got destroyed, and it's still there. It's the same way it was when the hurricane knocked it down. We can't do that. Down in Seacoast Bay, in my district, you got some derelict vessels in the harbor. They're still there. They're from the hurricane. And that is throughout the island. Western Ferry Terminal, the most popular ferry terminal in the territory, that people travel between the United States Virgin Islands and the British Virgin Islands. Oh, the Virgin Islands, as you would remember, has been destroyed since the hurricane. And is still destroyed since the hurricane. People have to now travel between Rotown and St. Thomas. So I can go on and on with this whole thing. We have a sewage treatment plant that treats the sewage from Bargos Bay, Free Bottom, Puzzle, Huntham Gut, all of Rotown. It treats the sewage. It's broken since the hurricane 2017, dumping raw sewage in the water. Why? We don't have the money, they claim. It's wrong. So you need people who can think, people who are fearless, rational, to run this country, to get it out of the mess that it's in right now.
Can we just delve a bit more into your description of what type of leader the Virgin Islands needs right now? I noticed that it's something you've spoken on a bit in each of your responses. So just describe for me the leader you believe that the Virgin Islands needs in the next government.
It needs someone who people would respect, and respect, a lot of respect that a person gains comes from his experience, background, knowledge of the situations around him, people who respect him because he's been there, he's done it. That's what the Virgin Islands need. It needs someone who is fearless, but not stupid. You know, he have the courage to do things that needs to be done. We have a situation in this territory. We need an airport. There's absolutely no question about it. That's one of the highest priority of any government that I'm serving with, to build a new airport. Extend the runway to the extent where you can fly internationally in and out of this territory. No question. We have a situation where water, a staple, I don't know where you live, but wherever it is, you're going to find out that we have a water problem in the territory. And it isn't that we don't have the water. We have water, potable water in this on Tortola. No different from you got seawater out there. You just can't get it from where it is to where you need it. How do you explain that? There's no way to explain it. That plant has been in operation since 2013, I think it is, somewhere around there, producing 2.3 million gallons of water a day. 2.3 million gallons of water a day. And from that time until now, this government was in office for the last 4 years. The situation with our water has not changed over that period. They can't show me a single pump that they've installed anywhere, whether it's along the Ridge Road, whether it's Diamond, along Trench, or wherever. They can't show me. They could show me where a pump has been broken and hasn't been replaced. Why are all people settling for this?
Stay tuned for more Just for the Record after these messages.
Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I got here. My name is Kamal Haynes. Most of you know me from 284 News, but now you get to see me in a different light on my very own show called Health is Wealth. We have Joel Turnbull.
I don't want you to arch your back when you're pulling down.
Milton McLean.
First of all, right, your footwork.
Stephen Payne.
That was a 9 out of 10. I know you got the service down pat.
Steve Augustine.
You did a pretty hard workout today, so perhaps...
And as you can see, it's actually
you're feeling it.
Lonzo Boynes.
Taekwondo.
Adam Murrows.
I'll speak as if you're an absolute beginner.
I am an absolute beginner.
You are an absolute beginner.
And Seth Graham.
It bites.
It will bite.
Get your water, get your fruits and veggies, and experience a wealth of knowledge about getting healthy.
Today, I am doing cobble treatments with Beyond the Reef. Today, we are doing shark research. So today, we are doing whale research with Beyond the Reef. And wherever I go, I take CCT with me because my life is unlimited.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us.
Why are all people settling for an incinerator that has been broken for 2 years and all you having is open burning? All the garbage, when every garbage truck you see pass back and forth, takes it down in a place called Parkwood Pond. They dump the garbage up in the hillside and they burn it. And people are complaining. People in the United States Virgin Islands, St. John, United States Virgin Islands are complaining. People in Carrot Bay are complaining. People in Western are complaining. People in Parkwood Pond are complaining. Everywhere across the western end of this island and down in the United States Virgin Islands. Why are we settling for this? I told this government when they came into office, and some nice guys, I have nothing against them. I said, listen guys, do not go back to the people to ask them for their vote unless you fix the problems. Get one thing straight. The reason you got elected is because you went out there and told the people that you're going to fix the problem. They ignored me. My opponent right now, as I speak, is wildly telling people that he's going to fix the water problem. He's telling them that. With the same group of people who were there 4 years and couldn't do a thing about it, he's telling them that he's going to fix the water problem. Now, if people are gullible enough to listen to that and believe that this person can do that, they go elect them. They come in, they spend 4 years, and they hope that people forget that they made these promises. It's the same promise that was made to the people before. So you want an honest government when they go into office. Honest in the sense that you make a promise, you're going to deliver on it. Don't believe that you're going to come here and whitewash it, sugarcoat it. This government needs to tell the people what happened on April 28, 2022. They're pretending as if it had never happened, but it did. And they have to tell the people, they need to tell the people before April 24th. That's election day. So those are the kind of things that you must expect from the next government that's coming into office. If Julian Fraser is involved in any way, shape, or form, which I intend to be, this country has to turn around. It needs experience. It needs strong leadership. And I have more stories to tell.
Now, I found it interesting that you did mention what they say as issues being used as a political football. I'll term it like that. So around elections, people come around in the BVI, they talk about sewage, they talk about roads, and they talk about supplying water. Mm-hmm. What are the issues that you believe that Virgin Islanders need to pay special attention to when deciding how they swing in this general election?
All those issues that I raised regarding water, sewage, the garbage, disposal of garbage, those are health-related matters. If you don't pay attention to those, you're not going to live long. And the time you live, you're not going to be healthy. So it's not just what you can put in your pocket you should pay attention to. You should pay attention to all those things that I've mentioned. Electricity is one of those too. I did mention burying the high voltage cables. But we have, the United Nations Charter on the Convention for Decolonization has stated that by the year 2030, all colonies should be granted self-determination, has a right to self-determination. What are we doing towards that end? Are we developing our institutions need to be developed to the stage where all people can walk into independence? You came from a country that's been independent, maybe over 50 years ago.
Just about that,
Yeah,
just under that.
Like Jamaica has been independent for 60 years. And you telling me that Jamaica 60 years ago was more developed than us today? Well, we drive on the left-hand side of the road. And what are all the good things we spend in the United States dollar? Those things are not going to change. You didn't have that back then. I mean, St. Lucia, same thing. But I have never seen any of those countries look back and talk about becoming a colony again. We have to prepare our people. That's one of the subjects that needs to go into the curriculum, preparing our people for the next step. People would ask certain questions when they hear talk about self-determination. They talk, well, what's going to happen to the dollar? Are we going to lose it? The answer is no. But they don't know this because no one taught them that it's no, you're going to keep your dollar. What's going to happen to a passport? Well, a passport from St. Lucia is as good as a passport from Jamaica is as good as a passport from the Virgin Islands. You travel where you have to go. All those passports will be accepted. But the people doesn't know this. And we have to educate our people, making them prepared for the next step. It's been too long that we've been subservient. It's been too long that we've been treated as, I don't know, you're not even a second-class citizen. I remember when I was a kid, I was a British subject citizen of the United Kingdom. Then I became a British Overseas Territory citizen. I became all kind of things. I don't even know what I am today, to be honest with you. We need to have our own identity. We need to teach our people from today how to prepare for that. And then those people will make the decision when the time is right, whether or not they want to transition. No one is forcing them, but you cannot bring that question to them today because the answer will be a resounding no in the absence of knowledge. And all those things, when I talk about building our institution, we have a situation in the House of Assembly where the Constitution gives every member of the House of Assembly the right to bring any bill before the House for any matter. Any member for any matter. That means the member could be in the opposition, he could be in the back bench, he could be in the front bench. Okay? Except a money bill, of course, which only the Minister of Finance can bring. When I tried to bring a bill as leader of the opposition, I tried to bring a bill to the House of Assembly, I saw where I was limited to the situation it called private members bill now. When I go to bring it, called private members bill. That's what I was limited to. Same as if that provision is for institutions like a church who wants a piece of legislation in order for them to operate a certain way. They would devise the legislation, take it through consultation in a public sphere over a period of months, and then come to one of us in the House of Assembly and ask us to pass it, bring it through the House of Assembly. That is wrong, and it's only wrong because standing orders need to be revised. That's one of the areas that I would love to be part of, giving our House of Assembly a modern standing orders so that members can function the way they were intended to function. And we have to build our institutions in order to prepare ourselves for that day when self-determination comes.
You did mention earlier that a common complaint from Virgin Islands governments is a lack of funds to complete certain projects, to meet certain demands from members of the public. But I can note that, especially with the release of the audits, the discussion for a lot of people changed from whether the government has money to whether it's simply a misappropriation of the funds that are available. So what's your take on that matter?
Well, you notice I didn't talk about money because as far as I am concerned, the reason our facilities are as lacking as they are, take the incinerator as I mentioned, I talk about the sewage treatment plant, lack of maintenance, or roads, lack of maintenance, or sporting facilities, whether it's a softball field or a basketball court, rundown, lack of maintenance. The budget is big enough to accommodate all those needs. It's just the appropriation process is flawed. Where does $430 million go? Which is the budget? Where is that money? The money is there, misappropriated. What a House of Assembly also need is a PAAC, a Public Accounting and Appropriations Committee, which will monitor the spendings of every department throughout the year. Like in January, we give you a budget. You got $2 million to build a facility. I'm looking at the budget and I'm looking at you. And it's March and I don't see any movement at all. You come to the PAAC and explain to us why you're not spending this money. What happens today is that somewhere down in September, because you didn't spend the money, they do a reallocation. They take the money from there and put it somewhere else. Could you imagine we found in a supplementary $10 million to give the NHI, National Health Insurance. Where did this $10 million come from that you give National Health Insurance? We found it throughout the budget. $10 million. So that's what we have before us. A bunch of kids with a lot of money and a lot of toys. It's like Mike Tyson, you got 15 vehicles. How does one man drive 15 vehicles? So you got some nine or 10 of them that hasn't been touched for years. But he like toys. It's they come to us with a budget. Everybody wants money. So you just throw money at them. They can't use it. So that's my take on money. I'm not worried about money. We have the money. We just have to appropriate it properly. We have to make sure that the people who it's appropriated to uses it. And you would see a lot of this stuff that we have in here complaining, all these sporting facilities, the utilities that we need to take care of our garbage and our sewage and all that stuff, the water, will be taken care of within the budget that we have. The money that I'm talking about borrowing is to bring this territory back to pre-Irma conditions. And we must do that. You would not have come to Tortola and see it the way it is. When you came and you saw, there are places you haven't seen. You just need the rubble, it just turns your stomach. I have a lady that calls me frequently. I'm not going to say where she's from. She calls me frequently. She's up in age, retired. She said, I'm looking up my roof and I'm seeing the rafters. Now, this person, that's from Hurricane Irma. This person is retired, is in no position whatsoever to replace that roof. And what it does, it brings on depression, gets older faster, get ill, and that happened to a lot of people. I've seen businesses that got destroyed during Hurricane Irma. People try hard to rebuild it. They got to a certain stage and they had to stop because they ran out of money. What's the government for? This government also, another thing that I want to see that has to happen, they took $40 million from the Social Security and they're going to put it back. They need to put it back. $40 million of the poor people, their retirement money. That's what Social Security funds are, for people's retirement. You walk in there and take $40 million out of it and just whatever. You want $40 million from Social Security and you're the government, I have no problems with it. Borrow it. Social Security has a facility for lending money to government. They can lend up to 30% of their Social Security pension fund to the government. Go borrow it if you want to. Don't take it.
Now, while we're still on the topic of money, a lot of people complain about the cost of living in the BVI. What's your take on that situation, and what do you think can be done to address the issue?
The cost of living in the BVI is a matter of shipping is the most that's the most taxing area of the whole thing. Everything we use in the Virgin Islands are imported, and shipping is the highest the tax. That's the highest tax you pay on all the goods that you use in the territory. You can't look at the United States Virgin Islands unless you do what they do. Their shipping gets subsidies from the United States federal government. Well, our government needs to look into the areas of shipping and see what we can do to assist the citizens of the territory in reducing the goods that they consume. That's what we need to do.
Do you believe that raising minimum wage would at all be of benefit to helping people cope with the cost of living?
Always. Always. Wages. I often wonder how people do it. They got 2 cell phones. And then you look behind that and you see, well, they have to pay utilities. They still have electricity to pay. They still have water to pay. And rent. Oh my goodness, rent is it's a pretty penny. So I think that's absolutely necessary. The raising the minimum wage, or looking into salaries, what people make, in order to and when you do that, you have to look at the cost of living as well. It's not just the money you make, but we need to know what the cost of living is. If you can demonstrate to us. We'll have to demonstrate to ourselves, I should say, that the monies people make can meet the expense of the cost of living.
All right, now let's look at your district. Just run me through exactly how long you've been the representative for District 3 and some of your proudest moments along that journey.
Yes, I've been the district representative for 24 years. And my proudest moments, there's so many. When I got into office, one of the first projects I've engaged myself in was the Nibs Estate. The Nibs Estate is a 114-acre estate that the government bought from the George's family for the sole purpose of resale to young people in particular at reduced rates for the purpose of building first-time homes. We subdivided the estate into the 148 lots, I think, 86 lots. And subdividing, meaning that we cut the roads, concrete them, install electricity and water, distribute the land to those people, and ensured at the time I was a Minister for Natural Resources and Labor, ensured that those people got ownership converted to themselves on favorable rates or terms of payments. I've encouraged people to build. A number of persons have already built their homes on the estate, and I'm proud of those people who've done that. I'm happy that the government was able to facilitate it. I've been able to cut new roads. One road called Jabbat Hill Road. I've been able to surface the Sikalba Chalwell Road to a large extent because when I got into office, the road was there, but it wasn't fully surfaced. I've seen the Ellis Thomas Downs, the grandstands got built, and the track was up and running. Everyone appreciated it. I appreciated it. I thought to myself that it's one of the most magnificent sights looking down from the hillsides around it when it's up and functioning properly. I've built a new softball field, the Roger Allen Hodge Park, because when the racetrack was built, it displaced the ball field that was in the area. I've gone into places like Parkwood Pond. Parkwood Pond was an area that was annexed to the 3rd District. When I got there in 1999, it was part of the 1st District before, but it was annexed. When I got there, it was basically virgin. People were living there, they had their houses, but the roads were dirt. I've concreted all those roads in Parkwood Pond. Certain areas were lakes when it rained. I've watched development in the community, like in the same Parkwood Pond, the R&R Malone complex came there. I was the Minister for Communications and Works at the time, and I was able to get the Department of Motor Vehicle down in that area to act as a magnet for commerce. People would be attracted to the area so that the stores that would be occupying the R&R Malone complex would be fed by people who has to come to the Department of Motor Vehicle Department to see whether they purchased at the time that they come to deal with their vehicle, or they saw the stores and they would come back to the area. And I think the area is thriving and bustling. In Duff's Bottom, we have the Island Department Store. All these things came into the district during my time. We have the Simmons Marina that came into the district during my time. Nanny Key. I was the minister who sold Nanny Key to its developers right now. And when they bought it, it was nothing but a rundown operation that was in receivership, and the only person who was making money was the receiver. Today, if you see Nanny Key, you would not believe it. I mean, it's really a top-notch development. So there's so many things in my area, my district, that has been done for the time I was there. And I haven't stopped. The number of projects that I continue to work on, even being in the opposition, I continue to work on. When I got into office, one of the things that I've done was to make sure that the people in my area didn't have to suffer from water shortages and rationing of water. So we commissioned a water plant in Seacows Bay. That plant produced 350,000 gallons of water a day. The people, that was commissioned in 2003. It ran for 10 years since that up to 2013, when the government of the day decided to discontinue its operation. And so we're back to where we used to be, where there's a rationing of water, and some days no water at all. So that's the kind of things, and the road networks. I've been actively involved in the road networks. The Boundary Road, I did portions of that before and after. The bridge next to the racetrack in Albion, I had to rebuild that bridge. It was really an amazing feat at the time it was being done.
All right, now, Honorable Fraser, we are coming to the end of our interview, but of course I don't want to end things without just asking you plainly, why do you believe that your representation, or should I say your continued representation, is what the people of the Virgin Islands need at this critical time?
I said before, I'm going to say it again, experience. Experience is something that you can't trade for anything. And at this particular time, I think that this territory needs as many experienced persons as it can get. I'm not saying that the new people are not needed, because we have to move forward. We have to groom people. But at this particular time, a house full of new people is not going to get the Virgin Islands where it needs to go in the next juncture. My experience is critical. My experience is needed. And I'm putting it out there to the people, the situation that we face.
All right. Thank you so much for your time today again, and thank you for your responses. You seem to have been well prepared for this interview. So again, thank you so much. I really do hope that the people of the Virgin Islands find this information valuable to their experience in the 2023 general election. Again, I am Jhaka Wooding, and this has been Just for the Record.
Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I got here. My name is Kamal Haynes. Most of you know me from 284 News, but now you get to see me in a different light on my very own show called Health is Wealth. We have Joel Turnbull.
I don't want you to arch your back when you're pulling down.
Milton McLean.
First of all, right, your footwork.
Stephen Payne.
That was a 9 out of 10. I know you got the service down pat.
Steve Augustine.
You did a pretty hard workout today, so perhaps...
And as you can see, it's actually
you're feeling it.
Alonzo Boynes.
Taekwondo.
Adam Murrows.
I'll speak as if you're an absolute beginner.
I am an absolute beginner.
You are an absolute beginner.
And Seth Graham.
It bites.
It will bite.
Get your water, get your fruits and veggies, and experience a wealth of knowledge about getting healthy.